County Board of Commissioners meetings for Wednesday, April 14, 2004.
Oh,
Rich had a conflict with coming in during my time, and we want to discuss.
So office business is at 9:30?
Yeah, I think it's at 10 o'clock.
Is Sue in?
No, she went to that funeral.
Oh, she went to early, yeah. Okay.
No, she went to
I know where she,
Overding.
yeah, Overding, yeah.
Okay.
So, Rich, if you want to come up.
Now, is this in regard to the fees?
Well, this is the RV park, general
General
conversation and
conversation.
fees. Yes, we'd like to get the fee structure settled.
Why don't you other
I
gentlemen join us
thought-
up here too? Are you with Rich on this same issue? Why don't you come up here too?
There's a quarter horse meeting. They were there last weekend, used the facility. I thought, they could make some general comments, if you'd like, on their impression of the facility and things along that line. But just kind of an overview. Last weekend, during the total 4 days that the quarter horse show was there, they used 32 of the full hookups, which is 32 of the 46 sites. And then we had 12 of the 13 sites that are power and water along Home Run Road utilized, and then we had 2 sites up against the track building used. One of the sites up along Home Run Road they couldn't get to.
Because of the construction.
You're right.
But they use.
Okay, so 12 for power and water. And then what was the other?
32 of 46.
No, and then
And then 2 up against track building.
2.
32 of the 46, and then
So in other words, you had 14 power and water.
Right.
14 not used, yeah. And 2 of them.
And then we've got the ability, we can do 79 total hookups if we need to out there track with the use of the pavilion.
Okay, now ask me this. Why did those 14 not hook up to the full
Because they don't have sewer.
in their rigs?
No, they don't have sewer accessibility up against Home Run Road. We put those.
No, that
She was
isn't my
speaking of the other
question.
14.
Okay, you have 32 utilized. We had 14 spaces that these 14 people could go to. Why didn't they use those full hookups instead of the...
Because all they wanted was power and water at a lower rate. We're offering options, and that's what kind of my
Well,
instruction was.
my desire is to have, if we can, when we have a program out there and the people are going to be using it, to fill up the RV park first.
And
Because, for one reason,
yeah.
because we have such a cleanup to do in the parking lot. I mean, that's my reason for it.
Okay.
I'll say this parking lot looked better this time than I recall it looking in a long time. Somebody kept that sweeper going out there pretty good.
Well, that's case in point. It takes a lot of staff time
Yeah.
to...
And the other thing, even those 14 or 13 up along Home Run Road were put for those trailers that could not go in the park too. Melissa Sexton's got a 42-foot trailer that she pulls with a cat hauler. I can't put that in my park.
Okay.
That's too big, and there was
that's-
4 of those rigs.
That's a
up
good
there.
explanation. That's the
And-
information I need to make a
and
decision.
then, other people, all they want was power and water. They don't have a sewer. And last weekend, because we're not fully up and going, we don't have all the full services. We offer 2 different rates. In fact, I think I even went against some
I
of
was gonna
Fred's
say,
instruction.
what services didn't we have?
We don't have the telephone
Oh.
and cable hookups available yet,
Or the internet.
or the internet. So it's not up and going. And I think Frank called me on it too, why I was charging 2 different rates out there, because I think Fred come out and talk to me. Well, Fred did come out and talk to me about just charging 1 rate for the whole park, and I kind of felt that we needed to kind of differentiate between 2 prices, so I went $15 plus tax, and we rounded it off to even because I didn't want to handle pennies on change.
And what was that? On the
15
14?
Yeah, on the 13 or 14, yeah.
Well, you said
Yeah,
14.
14, right.
12 and 2. So
And then,
$15 for those.
plus the tax. I rounded it up to $16.50.
Okay,
You know, got with Becky Bradshaw on it,
okay.
and we looked at it and went to the $16.50 there for power and water, and then to the 32 sites of the 46. Well, that was $22 a night or $20 plus tax.
on it.
So 22.
Right. And that total brought in $3,176. You talked to Becky yesterday, and there was 3 sites that weren't yet. I hadn't paid yet. Well, 2 of them went on the club bill that was not in the book as far as the voucher book, and then I had one that Winnow picked up its check yesterday.
Now, is this for one night or 2 nights? 2 nights?
Per night.
Per night.
$16.50 per night.
No, I
And
know,
20.
but the total, I mean, I don't have a calculator,
No,
I suppose.
okay.
The
Some
total,
of- yeah.
$31.76 is for the whole weekend.
For the whole weekend. Some were in 3 nights, some were in 2 nights, some were in 4 nights. It just varied depending on when they come in and showed.
Okay.
Yeah, this is our discussion and the discussion we had out there in regard to the charge in the RV park itself, because I was under the impression we were going to charge $15 on it. And I discussed that with Rich, and I think I mentioned to Butch on that. And, but $22 wasn't real bad. But the $15 was what I remember our discussion here. And apparently there was a misunderstanding someplace.
I thought it was, a rate from
Not
$26.95 down to.
Not in our initial discussion, no. What our initial discussion was, Fred said because there wasn't anything done out there, it wasn't complete, he thought, well, maybe we ought to let them have it for free. Is that correct?
That's correct.
And I felt we should charge them something, and Ray said, well, they had charged them $15 for the hookup the year before, and that was not, unreasonable. I said, fine, let's charge them $15 for the hookup out there. And that's where I thought we were. Until I talked to Rich, I found out we were at
Was that
$22.
$15 is what you charged them to hook up last
On
year?
the pavilion.
On the
Was it
pavilion.
$15?
Yeah,
And that was
For just the water and lights.
just
Well,
just power.
just power.
Just
Oh,
power.
Which is far below what most of those really require, especially with the air conditioning on and all the, you have 2 things on in an RV at 20 amps, you're done.
Yeah.
You're popping breakers all the time.
Well, I don't know. We are where we are, so.
Yeah, well, where we are, I don't think we had too many complaints on the $22.
No,
Well, I don't think they could get hookups any cheaper anywhere else
Care to
that I know
comment?
of.
We can.
Well, you can't.
That's why we're here.
Oh, well,
My name's Butch Rao,
okay.
Neva, and I think I know everybody else. I'm not acquainted with you yet, I guess.
Fred
But
Vaughn.
Fred. Glad to meet you. And this is Larry Wilkerson. He's
They've been heavy involved.
Larry, you see, you're either the past president or the president of the Washington State Quarter Horse Association.
president, Washington State.
But I just want to toss this out before we start a discussion. I was visiting with Jim Potts, who is our representative in Olympia, does lobbying for us.
Yeah.
And he has a motorhome up there, and he goes in and out. And he has sewer and hookup. He pays $350 a month. Kind of give you an idea on a monthly rate, or is it he can pay that daily or whatever, but he pays $350 a month, and I thought that ought to give us some idea of that we aren't necessarily the low spot in the state here.
Right. When we go to our horse shows, and it's the feeling of the quarter horse groups and the rest of the people that are doing shows, and if we're renting your facility, then we should get a break on the campgrounds. The pricing that you have for people coming in off the street to spend a night or a week, I don't think anybody has a problem with. When I go to Monroe to go to a horse show for 4 or 5 days, I have full hookup in Monroe. I don't have telephone. I don't have cable TV. Most of the horse trailers aren't even hooked up to use those facilities. It's the big motorhomes that do.
What do you pay?
$15.
$15.
I'm hearing at Spokane that they're raising theirs to 14. I heard that day before yesterday that they're going to raise theirs to 14. Walla Walla's been charging us 12. Moses Lake charges us 12. But like I say again, we're renting the facility.
You don't rent the facilities at the other places?
Yes, we do.
Okay.
Yes, we do. This weekend, Rich charged $22 for the campground, and I have to go along with what Frank said to go back a little bit. Track was the cleanest I've ever seen it. It was absolutely fantastic. This is our third show there. The comments were great. The campground is absolutely beautiful. I had one gentleman come to me and ask about putting some sand in the arena. He said we could go out back and get it, and I said, well, you better go take a look. He was greatly surprised when he walked back there. And I heard no kick on the $22 for the campground. I think people will pay $22 for a facility. It's a really nice campground. One thing that we do want to do is we want to get away from the $26.95. Make it $27, or if you want to get into play the game where it doesn't sound quite like $27, add the tax into it, make people think they're getting something, but make it even money. So there's no change involved. You guy can hand you a $22 bill, and you're out the door.
Because answer this: do we pay sales tax to the city of Pasco?
We pay
to the state?
we do pay state
So
sales
we
tax
are gonna
plus
have
bedding plus the hotel motel tax. We have to pay that too.
Okay.
So
So
out of
we're
the
at 10.3 with those things.
Okay.
Okay. So the 10.3 includes the hotel motel tax.
Right, and the sales tax, right.
So the $22, say you started
Right.
out at 20, the 22 takes care of the hotel motel, so the
right.
county basically is getting $20.
Right around
plus cost.
19, I think it's 1996.
Yeah, pretty close, Rick.
Yeah, it's pretty close. We just rounded off to where it's
Yes,
fairly
yeah.
close because I didn't want to have to deal and change. And
So, how do we send that in quarterly, or do we send it in monthly?
that I don't know.
That's a
because
bookkeeping
that's a Becky
procedure,
question.
yeah.
That's Becky. She sends it in, and I think she probably sends it in monthly.
Well,
Yeah.
because isn't this our first experience,
It's our-
or do you collect it for those?
In the past, we haven't because we just look at that as a rental of our facility. The $15 did not include the taxes, so Becky backed that out last year because we didn't consider it an RV park. It was just renting our power, utilizing our power
Okay.
and renting the
All
power.
right.
But now where we're,
Hope that doesn't come back to bite us, but maybe it
Uh,
won't.
It will be good.
I don't think it will. The Fred brought before the board here a couple weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, a fee structure, $34.95 for full service, $26.95 for track users, and then power and water, which is those 13 down along the road of $20.95. And that was with when we get the whole thing complete and open. And just kind of a little bit of information here. And Fred's seen this before. This is what I went around and looked at and made copies or information on as far as what some of the competitors in the area are doing. And the highest one on the survey was the Horn Rapids RV Park out in West or Richland there, corner Highway 240 and they're at 35. What that shows there is that almost every one of these that have more amenities than what we've got that are at the higher range. For instance, the Horn Rapids Park out there, they've got a clubhouse, they've got a lot more amenities.
Swimming pool.
The swimming pool, espresso cart, ice cream convenience store, pool, spa, showers. We got the showers, meeting rooms, and just lots of different amenities that are above and beyond what we've got out there at track.
But I think more important is that we're not in competition with them directly as far as the
Right.
shows are concerned. We're in competition with Walla Walla and Spokane and the other areas that are charging, and I think we have to make our rates commensurate with what we're offering and what they're offering there.
And back up a little bit on what Butch is talking about as far as rates. I go up to Yakima every October to go to the fair and show my horses there, and I pay $18 a night there, and I get power and water. And that's all I get. If you want sewer service, you got to grab the honey wagon when it comes around.
Yeah, I don't think they have sewer hookups anywhere on there.
Yeah, no, they don't. So that's kind of where we're at. One of the comments I got, had a lady, and she's acquaintance, I believe yours, Lee, was Sherry Henderson. She was organizing the 45-year class reunion for Pasco, and she said she had about 15 to 20 people that come up for the class reunion, and she wanted to use the park out there. And when I told her $34.95, she said she'd go someplace else.
That's going to happen.
Yeah, and at $28 to $30, she probably would come because you're right in the commensurate with the other. You're close to what the other competitors are in the area when you're talking about non-track users. And
Well, except, like the soccer fields and the softball tournaments and different things. The convenience of our RV park to that, where the kids can go to McDonald's in walking distance or the grocery store, or I think we're people aren't going to go down the highway and rent there for $4 to $5 cheaper.
I've had one lady call me on coming for a soccer tournament, and I told her $34.95. She says she called me back up the next day and says I've got a reservation down at Sandy Heights for the $27.
Yeah, well, and she wants to transport her kids back and forth.
Yeah,
That's
But
her
people-
choice,
but
People travel all the way across the U.S. and they camp with a motorhome, and they camp dry in Walmart, or they'll camp dry other places, and they won't go. They have to pay a high rate. They just won't.
and we're going to have a Walmart out there,
And there'll be a Walmart out there, and they do the same thing. That,
Yeah.
unless the city comes up and says they can't stay overnight, that's the only stipulation.
Right. But, my concern is that we
Well,
set
I
it too high, and then I can't meet the budget because they're going down the road.
Empty spaces will do us no good.
Yeah.
Absolutely. We got to keep people in there.
And I'm getting a lot of resistance at that $35 level.
In my opinion, we're too high there. We got to get it down.
Well, Rich, do you have recommendations?
Well, I built our budget on track users at 23 and non-track users at 26. That's what I built our budget on,
plus tax.
plus tax.
You build it on what now, Rich?
23 for track users, the quarter horse clubs, the barrel racers, the team ropers, arts and crafts show, those folks come in, and then 26 on non-track users.
We're still higher than on 23 than plus tax than anybody else around.
And and kind of a little bit on the defense of that, there's a lot of convenience there, because you're right next to the barns, you're right next to the arena. I think they're a lot closer than any RV park that I've been, RV area at any horse show.
What about the water and power only sites?
I didn't have a recommendation on that because I just built it straight on the 46. I didn't include, at that time when we built the budget, the 13 was not, we didn't look at that. And they were added on afterwards.
So in years past, you've been hooking up the pavilion for $15.
Just straight
It's only a
power.
20 amp service, so we've got bigger amp service down there off the Walnut Road, so.
Plus the water,
A couple extra bucks, plus
So what do you recommend?
about
then?
18 to 20 in that range,
Plus tax?
plus
18?
tax, yeah. And round it off to the nearest 50 cents, whenever the tax comes out. And the other thing that I'm looking at, and it was a comment that Butch made last night at the quarter horse meeting, is dogs, charging for dogs.
I can't
Right.
think of a price too much to charge for
Yeah.
dogs in there. Boy,
And-
yeah.
And I'm looking at $10 per dog for up to 4 days of stay.
$10 a day.
well, not a day, but $10 for
I'm
the stay,
serious.
or
I want to see us
$20.
keep dogs out of that place, period.
Yeah.
And if it's $10 a day, let them keep the dogs.
You're gonna have travelers that have their little dogs.
And it's not uncommon for RV parks to charge for dogs.
Is that right?
Yeah, it's not uncommon for,
We had an Easter egg hunt on Sunday, and the kids were told if they were brown and long, don't pick them up because there was more of those out there than there were Easter eggs.
Yeah, we didn't put any.
They were
ground
out
eggs
at the
there.
RV park?
No,
out
in the grass
out in the
area.
grass area there.
It was a mess, and we are also going to help control that. Our next show, we're going to find them. They got dogs running loose, running around. We're going to find them in the horse show. It was a mess.
Yeah, in the RV park, we could keep dogs out of there. God, that's just awful. You know, people's dogs are going to have to come out.
Well, they'd have to be leashed,
Yeah, it's in the rules for them to be on a leash.
Yeah.
and that they need to
But even
clean
at
up
that, they
after
walk
them.
them out in the grass. And,
Yeah, that's where they don't walk them on the concrete. They walk them in the grass, and that's where they do their little do. And
Yep.
Well,
it.
And so we're going to have an expense of cleaning up afterwards, so we're going to have to charge.
yeah.
Oh my!
And I don't have any problem even $20 a dog for a stay, whether it's a one-day stay or whether it's a
Yeah, I think we ought to make the charge for the dogs high enough that they'll keep them home. Oh, I hate that.
Oh,
I agree, we don't
Yeah.
need to have that mess out there.
Yeah, and it was a mess.
Gee.
I like the park. It was beautiful. People loved it. When I drove up there the first day, I looked at the parking lot where we've had them before. I thought, oh, geez, the show's going to be down. Just people aren't here and such. And the wife was doing stalls, taking reservations and stuff. And she kept telling me numbers are good and everything. And when I showed up over there, I thought, oh, something must have happened. No, it's just the fact we moved everybody around to that RV park. It opened up the regular parking lot. I think we only had 2 people parked in the gravel.
2 people. All I saw
Two
out
people
there.
parked in the gravel.
So it just brought everybody around there. It opened up that parking lot. It worked great. I mean,
Well,
everybody
and
enjoyed it.
you know, that's my personal goal, is to try not to have them park in that gravel across from the hotel.
But
Because,
and
uh,
that
big
really-
shows they will, and those ropings are going to.
Yep, the ropings and the barrel racings, you're probably going to have that
Yeah.
because there's so many of them.
Yeah.
So they controlled, the parking was controlled out there where they backed in like they're supposed to. You know, there weren't hither and yon. They're only about, I think I counted 2 that were crossways. They were neat, but they were crossways on the end, and then one kind of at an angle. So it wasn't bad.
And we, on track, hired some temporary people to come and do the parking for the team roping.
The team roping was
Yeah,
good out there,
yeah,
too.
team roping, and then we also had folks in for the first couple of days and parking when the majority of the contestants were coming in for the corridor show, and that worked very well. And as Larry was saying, it worked very well where we got, here's 32 trailers that are out in the parking lot that were there last year, and causing an overflow over into the other parking lot that are now in a site, and we're making money off of.
One of the problems I see out there we're going to have to deal with is marking those spots, because some people were taking up
Right, and
2
that's
spots, with their rig.
They'll get lined out.
They didn't line it up, and they didn't come
Right.
back to the edge, But I think there were only 2 or 3 in the whole bench.
well,
that
there
did
was
that.
one that he paid for 2 spots.
He was so big he had to, that one down there.
I've got one that was
Yeah.
in the first spot there.
Yeah,
That
and then and I'm sorry, I'm not a horse person, you gotta know.
I understand that, Neva.
But these rigs that cost thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars, and all of their bridles and all that stuff, and they quibble over
They do.
the parking.
They do.
My mentality doesn't understand that.
Let me tell you something. You have to understand the horse industry, though.
Yeah.
That's
You
what
have-
I'm saying.
That-
I don't understand
Yeah,
that.
and
So my sympathy isn't there.
You should get the same guy that pulls in the Walmart with his $250,000 motorhome because he won't.
That's
pay
right.
That's down the road.
Well,
So it's
yes.
across to everybody.
Yeah.
Well, and that might be so, but they also go in there for convenience too,
Yeah.
because they can pull in any time of day or night.
Yeah, that's it.
And the
Yeah,
grocery
for free is
store's
not
right
bad
there,
either.
and they're all self-contained, so, but when you're at a facility and you have these amenities offered and you're quibbling over $5. I don't understand it.
Well, it's better to have them, we're not going to change the mentality of the people who are thinking.
I guess not, but I just had to have my say, Frank.
I think we have to price it. So they're going to be full. We had 12 vacancies out there. We need to see why we had 12
I
vacancies.
can tell you there was trailers
Well,
out there
because we
over
didn't, because people,
$100,000.
that's the number of people that wanted power and water or the services. There was several of them that just come in, they parked their trailers and they went to Holiday Inn Express or they went down to Sleep Inn.
Well,
So
and I
this is
hope
fine.
they'll utilize our hotel.
American
Not
Legion.
our hotel, but the hotel.
Yeah.
Because it's going to be reasonably priced for what
It's got suites in it. It'll be- you
Yeah,
put
we have
more-
a tour coming up with management out there when they get it completely done to go through and look, because I've never seen one. I have no idea how big the rooms are or anything. And we've been negotiating with them for rooms for the next show. They're supposed to be open April the 10th, I think, or May 10th.
Well,
May
that's their
10th.
goal.
Don't figure
Yeah.
out anything before June. No.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and that's us too. So we've been negotiating, and I think we finally hit a rock bottom price for people coming in for show.
They got a indoor swimming pool and
It's gonna be nice.
exercise.
Yes.
And they have refrigerators and
They're mini
27
suites is what they are
Yeah.
upstairs.
And I think the room rate is for the room, and you can have several people.
Yes, you can.
They
She told me that if a person rented a room with the queen-size beds in it, there's 2 queen-size bed and a couch that makes into a queen, so you can sleep 6 people in the room.
They're
Cheapens
like
that.
studio apartments.
Yeah, that cheapens that $85 and $89 up quite a bit.
Well, when you can get up and go have breakfast for 4 or
Free.
5 people included in the price, it makes it pretty cheap.
That's
Or
good.
reasonable, I should say.
I think that's very reasonable. on that, really.
She's agreed. Maybe I shouldn't tell you this.
No, I don't get that.
She's agreed to rent rooms to us for the horse shows for $79.
That's a $10.
Yeah,
It's $10 over what we paid this time at the Holiday Inn Express. Yeah.
But, I think they allow children, if you want to have
And they're
sleeping
going
bags.
to have pet area, I think some pet rooms too. So,
Yeah.
not a whole lot.
Well,
So
Anyway, back to setting prices. Discussion 18, power and water, 23 track users and 27 non-track, or 26 non-track.
I think that's as high as it will
And,
be.
yeah,
I was told yesterday that a lady that travels quite a little bit goes down the coast. When she gets over there on the coast, she pays $22 a night going down the coast, staying
Standard.
for all the amenities. The cable TV, the telephone, and the high-speed internet are really nice services.
But you don't need
I don't see 5 people out of 50 using it for horse shows.
the cell phones, so forth, are kind of taking care of the
Yeah.
phone thing.
And we considered, maybe not
Is-
having that, but
Is there a
for
way-
the few people that maybe don't use cell phones.
Correct.
they
Is
would
there a
want
way
it.
to turn that service off and on out there?
We've talked about doing that.
Yeah.
We haven't got it plugged in yet, but we're talking about putting it on a toggle switch so it can be shut off and on. But
That
at
would-
this time, we're not doing it.
Okay, because that could be another consideration, like if you wanted to charge $22 for water, sewer, and electrical, $25 if you do all the amenities, you hook them up and do that. I don't know. I don't know how big a problem that is for you guys.
It wasn't designed to do it.
Okay.
But the other concern I have is us not going lower than our neighbors. Because then that's government in competition
Yeah.
with private enterprise.
But when we're putting on a horse show, we're not in competition.
Yeah.
Correct.
No, this is a separate issue when we're, otherwise,
Yeah,
we're-
If we didn't have our RV park, they'd go down the road.
but that's all part of the rental process.
Yeah, I don't think so. They would do that.
Okay.
They would.
They dry lot it.
They'll dry lot.
Or bring their generators.
Oh,
Right.
yeah.
Yeah.
Our biggest concern too is that at some time of putting on a show, and there'd be a softball tournament or whatever, and the park being kind of intermingled back and forth with the two groups. We've got to educate our people that if you're going to come to the show,
So you better
start
commit
making
ahead of time.
reservations. Yeah.
Exactly.
You got to commit ahead of time.
Because
so that-
I got a call yesterday for 2 soccer people coming in during Central Washington Quarter Horse Show.
This is fine,
Yeah.
but we've got to educate our people that,
And-
send out the list and let them start making reservations.
Give them first
all summer.
priority and then go.
Do
from
we
there.
have the capability of doing reservations online yet?
I've got the paperwork I'm faxing in today.
Okay, that would really be a big help.
Yeah.
We can get that taken care of, so these people can get online and directly to Rich, get everything taken care of right there.
Well, I think we need to chew on this for a while. I think Commissioner Miller needs to be part of the discussion.
I don't think we intended to make a decision today anyhow. Just to,
No, and go from there.
Yeah, I don't have any need for anything final until we get everything in,
We're
unless,
supposed to have that completed, except for the cable, by Friday.
okay, and then
when's your next booking out
next
there?
week.
Not this week, but next
Yeah,
week.
I might have some soccer folks in or softball people in this weekend wanting to use the facility, a half a dozen people or 2 or 3 people. But what I was going to say on the 26th, all in response to Neva's concern, is you take a look at where other Sandy Heights is 26, 21. Where we would be a little bit lower. We could go to 27 or 28. I'd say even 28 on the non-track users. On
What
the
are
upper-
they charging down the street on?
26, 21 plus tax.
You've got the stuff right there.
It's all.
Oh, 26, 21,
Yeah.
but indoor pool and spa.
Yep.
And that's where if I had soccer kids, when we did, that'd be one of the things like, I would go down the street, because you take them kids and they're done playing soccer, you go dump them in the pool.
It takes up some time, doesn't
Yeah,
it?
it just gives them someplace
Yeah.
to.
Yeah, they've got different amenities than we have.
That's it.
And I don't want to see us lose income because we said what our prices are
You
going
know,
to be.
I don't want to. There is a water park that's just right across the street that the city put together. We were going to put a water park in the RV park, but the city actually came to us and said, "Why would you double up? We've already got it out there. It's available to the public. So why?"
Is
why
it
spread
in now?
Yeah, it's been.
Are they using that thing? Because we looked at that the other day, Fred. We didn't understand what they had. You know?
Yeah, we didn't walk in there, but yeah, they have a water park. It's kind of a play pool, isn't it?
During summer, there's a lot of people there.
Yeah.
And all it is just to walk across the street.
Where is it? Real plus. That's right
Over by the
south
softball.
in the softball field, right down
The
below.
one thing
Across the street.
It's not like the one in Kennewick, if that's what you're thinking, Larry. It's no.
Well, I didn't know there was any.
Yeah, I didn't either.
and what
That's the only reason we don't have it in our.
Right.
Yeah, because I wanted a pool out there.
And
Didn't
what-
I?
Yes, you did.
I heard that. One of the
Well, the way
things.
the arena was, we had one.
Yeah. A little shallow for swimming, and
Little thick. But the concern I have there is a lot of times that's closed up and locked up, and if somebody wanted to use it, then whoever's there at the RV park would have to have the key, go open it up, and then monitor.
maybe that can be worked out.
And it can be.
Yeah.
You know, the discussions with the city,
Yeah.
the city even told us when we do our advertisements that we can add that we have that convenience.
That is certainly a plus. It's certainly a plus for it.
Oh,
That's good.
you bet. That'd be great for the kids over there at the horse shows.
Oh, yeah.
We just didn't know it
It
was there.
occupies a lot of time.
Yeah.
June, July. Yeah.
Because we've had comments, people coming over here in July show that it's too hot over here. And that would be a blessing for that.
Yeah, it's been in for a couple of years. It's just not very well known.
No,
Yeah.
it's not because I wasn't aware of it. And,
I didn't know it was in yet.
yeah. And it's right next to us there.
It's right there, just across the street.
But Fred and I drove down the other day and looked at it, and we didn't understand quite how it functioned.
Yeah, I haven't.
You put quarters in, and then different places water comes out. You punch little buttons.
You
and
have to
step on
feed it.
You have to feed it quarters.
Yeah, it's kind of like a dance. Well, you get a whole bunch of kids in there.
Does that one have to have
Mhm.
money?
Well, you get a bunch of kids in there, and they all drop in a quarter, and I don't know
Everybody
how it
uses
works,
it.
but it keeps.
Like the one at Columbia Park.
Yeah. It's kind of like a dancing water park is what it is. They got water.
Some of them are up and some of them shoot out some.
Yeah, they have them in
Pretty
Las
cool,
Vegas all
waste
over.
from-
Yeah.
Well, we're cutting into raise time, so.
Yeah, okay. Well, thank you
We've
for
got a
your
very beautiful
information.
facility out there. It's looking the best it's ever looked. Everybody, we get judges that come in from shown across the nation and just amazed at the facility and just how well it is.
We're pleased that they're pleased because, you know, if we don't have happy customers, we don't have customers.
It's just an arena issue. We've got rocks and Richard working on that and stuff.
We hope we can solve that with that rock
Yeah.
picker will help.
That's the biggest killer we got.
That's the biggest killer we got.
I've got
Because
Lance,
we work that arena up with other events, and that makes a problem. I
Yep.
know.
I've got Lance is working on getting a demonstration for that particular
Good,
model for
good.
us. So.
Well, thank you.
Good
Thank
visit.
you.
Yes,
Thanks for coming in.
Come to the horse show and we'll take you around.
I know I should.
I'm going to call you and ask. I'm going to call you and ask for a date. Thank you very
All
much.
right.
We'll see you guys now.
We're taking it up to the best.
Okay, well, let's see, where are we?
No, I found out. Did you get the email?
Should we do Darren right quick?
I have nothing, so I just was in the building for another reason. I thought I'd just see if you had any
Okay,
questions.
well,
Are you unhappy with the looks of the courtroom up there, Darren?
The portable,
no,
Any of them?
the new one.
you know, I haven't even set foot in the new courtroom for several months now.
What about the portable?
I wandered in there the other day. It looks like the
This is what we lost. This is what
gallery area for the public to sit, or for where you can pick your jury from, is much smaller than I had anticipated, and that looked a bit problematic to me. But at the same time, I'm not sure.
But as far as cleanliness, is what we were looking at here.
Oh, I mean, it's not, hasn't been opened yet, so I mean, it's.
Yeah, it's,
Oh, it's no, they're not in.
No.
They don't start using that until what,
Constructing
next
it.
month?
yeah,
I don't know.
about May, I think. It's coming along really well, Frank.
As far as
that new
clean-
courtroom.
Yeah, as far as cleanliness in the new courtroom up by the clerk's office, I guess I'm not aware of there being issues. I haven't
Apparently,
been in there
there's
for a
some
while.
coordination problems there. That's clerk's
With our
office.
janitorial.
I will check with the folks who've actually, like I said, I
And I guess
haven't,
there's
just haven't done
some
any court work for a while.
graffiti.
That would not surprise me. There's graffiti anywhere those folks come into. We've got a bench sitting out in front of child support. It's one of the old court pews, but I think it was clean when they sat it out there. It's got some gang graffiti
Well,
carved
you
into it.
know,
I
what
noticed
is
the other
our
day.
security doing? That's what we hired Joe Monday, not just for riot type stuff, but to make sure that those people aren't doing that stuff.
Somebody's been writing bad words in there, in the court up there.
Yeah.
In
I,
the
see, I
new
haven't,
courtroom.
I hadn't seen that yet.
That just makes me sick. What is staff doing that they're not watching that?
You know, guys will sit there though. Even they got a pair of handcuffs on, and when they're sitting there and somebody's not watching them, they'll be scratching.
we need to put cameras. Whether they even on it.
Yeah, I think that's the only way because you
Well,
can't.
we had some complaints in regard to the janitorial part of the courtrooms. I guess they've been neglected.
I can check with other members of the staff.
That's
I'm in the middle of two conversations, so I'm not really tracking.
I know, we'll just discuss it with you.
All right. I'll see you all later. We've got the federal attorney who's coming in at 11. And,
Yeah,
we'll
that
see you guys back.
concerns me.
Sue met with him this morning, and it was a fairly brief meeting. I expect your meetings will also be fairly brief.
Okay, Sue met with him early, and I got this little Sherfy boy coming in that is the world's champion wrestler here. That I'm going to be in here when we sign the certificate at whenever he comes between 11:30. But I'll stay with the attorney.
Between 11:30 and 12, so.
Okay.
But
Yeah.
you might be through by the time.
Yeah, they'll be back
Time
at
to get
11,
there.
and probably each meeting will take no longer than 15 minutes at the most.
Hopefully, yeah.
Okay.
They
Thanks,
might be
Sharon.
with you too, and I want to talk to you first before that happens.
I thought we had some standards about who we let in this building.
Yeah, book them.
God, we're letting everybody in here
How
now.
come you're here?
Get to Barwin,
Oh. Okay.
Tim's in Florida, and
We get on Fred about everything. Fred, handle that.
Okay, now,
he would like to.
now we need Ray, I guess, huh?
Okay, our usual time. I got to talk to some of the things on our agenda. I got to talk to Fred about. Also, on the spending, we've got a few things for event spending. One of them is on, or a couple things are on the bottom end of the agenda. So Remind me, I gotta talk.
We went over finances, Becky. And now, we paid 2003 assessments or subsidies in 2004. Now, we're not going to be hit.
It's always going to be because we
Always
won't know
a-
our year ends for operations. Now,
Yes.
for your debt, you'll pay it in the year that it's paid.
Well, we're not.
But the debt is
because-
different.
No, I'm here to tell you. Let's
The
see.
debt was paid last year in December.
The debt has to be paid when it's due, that period.
June and December is
Yeah.
when it was paid, and I invoice before it comes out of Track's
Yeah.
funds.
But the debt is tied to a fund. The debt's tied to a fund as opposed to operating.
And I know those exact amounts.
Yeah,
The operating, I don't know what it's going to be until
until the
the
end figures come out.
January normally.
Yeah. Your books would work out probably the same as the courthouse books out here. We're never sure till the 1st of February, really, till
Well, Tom closes out
In
the
January.
January 20th.
And that's
And
when
you didn't bill us for,
I billed as soon as Tom gave me my final numbers. The day, in fact, he emailed it over to me, and that's the day that I invoiced.
But it'll work out the same way next year. It'll work
well,
out the same way.
hopefully this RV park will pay for it.
But I mean, yes, but the billing would work
Right,
out
you're
the
not
same.
going to get billed in December for this year.
No,
You're not
we'll only
gonna-
have one more billing for the year.
Right, well, you'll have two. You'll have a debt payment in June and a debt payment.
But we're talking about two different things. I'm talking about operations.
Right, you won't have any more operations
No,
this
just,
year.
yeah. Because
Well,
we pay the operations in one payment then. So it won't have that again. The debt payment is tied to a fund, so that doesn't worry us here.
those funds are out of money is what's worrying me. That's why I'm bringing it up.
Well, they
So-
shouldn't, the
well,
fund
they
shouldn't
are.
be out of
They
money.
are. So let's go on with the agenda.
All right,
And then-
the agenda, as far as the event update, the usual, Yokes had an Easter egg hunt out there, about 50 people that I saw on the Saturday morning. Fine.
In our
In the
lawn.
grass lots out
Yeah.
front.
Out front,
They
yeah.
put the.
They
the rows of
advertised, yeah.
cars And roped that area off, and Daryl was out there, and everything was fine. The quarter horse show had about 1,200 as we saw it over the whole run of the event. And you just heard your comments of how things went. I want to make you aware that Rich worked that dirt through the night. What was it, Friday night?
In the arena?
In the arena, all night long, to make sure that that quality of what they were looking for was there.
And
It was primarily due to the monster truck show. We weren't able to get that moisture out of there that we thought was out of there, and you don't know until you get on it and work it. Anyway, Rich went way beyond and above, and really appreciate his efforts. And you heard the comments. The only issue was the rocks that he picked up at that time. We had 4 people out picking up rocks the week prior to this show.
And
also
always-
metal detectors and everything else to make sure that it was of absolute top quality.
when we use our arena as we do for diverse groups, we're always going to have those rocks work out.
So anyway, that was Rich really went above and beyond, and
We appreciate
Dale
that.
Aldrich also was there with him.
Who was that?
Dale Aldrich,
Oh, that young,
probably not the one you've seen, Dan, his brother, but Dale.
Dan's the young guy that's,
Dan's the one that's out there almost every day during the week.
okay, and Daley's brother works there?
Dale was out there during the event, and he and Rich moved the dirt around.
Oh, I didn't know that his brother worked there too. The Dan's a good kid. Now.
Yeah, he is. And then we had a meeting on Thursday night. There was only 12 people with the youth hockey. This week, Euro Ranch Management Horse Sale, the Rocky Mountain Elk Foundation, and next week, the advisory board, Pasco Chambers Hawaiian Auction, the barrel racing you heard about, Hispanic dance on the 24th, opposite the barrel racers. Be a similar situation to what we had with the team ropers a couple weeks ago, and the Hanford Health and Safety end out the month of April. Okay, Becky's got the budget update. Now, with that said, I'll turn the page. Just want to let you know that when I look at those numbers, two events, significant events, were not in February this year. The revenue was in March, and we'll talk about that in specific, but it's at the end of March, things are looking about like they were last year. So we just moved from the cash, our cash basis, I moved from February to March. Becky, go ahead.
Okay. So February's events, the big two there, the Regional Home and Garden Show and the Boat Show. The Boat Show, that was a new event for us. What Ray was talking about there, that Regional Home and Garden Show, it was February 27th to the 29th. Well, the dates, the way it fell this year, that deposit didn't go in until March, whereas last year it fell different, and there was a day left in February, so the money went in February.
That affects your cash flow in February.
Yeah, so
quite a little
February's
bit.
going to look a little bad, but that's because it's going to go into March's. And then also the Monster Trucks was in February last year, and that event got moved to March this year. So the next page there, 65 events this year in February compared to 62 last year. Our attendance up a little. That's mostly due to the boat show being in February. Next page, profit and loss just from our operations. For February, if you see that the total income there, 51,000 compared to 100 last year. That's where we're talking.
Hold up just a minute. Okay, go ahead.
That difference there. The home and garden show deposit that went into March was a $47,000 deposit. So that would make up that difference.
But
there.
$98,000, yeah.
Yeah. So bottom line for February, this year it shows a loss of $52,000 compared to a loss of $13,000 last year.
But we have accounts receivable.
53, so it was basically a break-even month, even without that deposit that went into
But
March.
last year we had an accounts receivable of 45 at the same time. Was that?
But the home and garden deposit showed up in last year's February.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. The next page, the year-to-date, January and February income of 189, expenses of 230, so that shows a loss of 40,000, with 76,000 in receivables.
So it's actually a profit of 30.
Right. Right.
So actually, we're just down just a little bit from last year then, even with the receivables down about 15,000.
That's correct on a bottom line.
Yeah, on a
It's
bottom line.
significant that we've added the sales position is in this too.
Yeah,
So
if you look
we're
at that first, that administration.
It's in the expenses.
on the expense side.
Yeah.
So actually, I think we're doing okay,
That
especially
should
if we
start.
were hit with that January time with that big. Usually, the Farm Forum Ag Show is one of our really top events of the year, and this
Yeah.
year it was terrible. So
No one could get out. That was, yeah.
So, we're right about where we were last year, I think. We're
We should
holding
start
our own.
realizing, hopefully by the latter part of the year, some benefits from that new position.
Well, we hope so. I've got
Yeah.
5 events right now sitting on my desk with the Amerisleeves ready to go. So
Good.
I thought I had, anyway.
Okay. The next page, the food and beverage profit and loss. This again is going to be a little, off because the home and garden show concessions didn't show up in this month. Still, it was an okay month for them. 14,000 in income and 12,000 in expenses, so about $2,500. It's about a 16% profit margin compared to 38 last year. But that's, like I said, off when 13,000 of it was from concessions. So invoice aging, no real concerns there. Your subsidies show up on there because it was invoiced in February. The cities of Pasco, that one still hasn't been paid their subsidy. They haven't paid.
How much do they run in arrears? Because
They really sometimes they're fast and sometimes they're slow. I did have a conversation with Jim Chase. He called, and they wanted to understand exactly what that was for. They didn't feel like they needed to be paying for the capital improvements, and I told them that was the first I'd heard of that, and that they would need to clarify that with Fred.
well, they had agreed to. Yeah.
It's in the record.
Yeah, well, that That was the last conversation I had, and I told them they didn't need to talk to me.
Can we get that one?
Yeah, I'll take care of
Okay.
it. I got a question back on the food and beverage.
Okay.
It shows that we're really quite a bit down from last year at this time to this year.
Yeah, if you add those 13,000 back into that, because there's $13,000 deposit from the Home and Garden Show concessions.
Go to put it up 2,000 down from last year. Then is that what you're saying?
No, it would be a profit of,
Well, 2,000 down from gross is what I'm saying.
Right. If you add 13 back into that,
2,000
take
down.
it up to 2,700.
So we're down. We're
7,000.
still down.
And a good part of that is from the farm forum that we didn't. I mean, our concessions were awful because there was no one there.
Where's this 13,000 at? If you look-
it's going to be
You
in
don't-
March.
it's gonna
It's in
show
March.
It's going to show March. Even though the show was in February,
It went to the last day in February, the
29th
29th,
February.
which was a Sunday. I couldn't deposit money till.
okay, so if you add 13,000 to the 14,
Comes to 27.5.
We're down
and
about
that
2
is-
And
grand.
then you have the monster trucks too. That was in February last year. It's going to show up in March this year.
so March,
So you're telling us we're all right.
We're,
Yeah, when you
we're
get your
okay.
March report, it's
We're
going to
gonna-
even out.
We're going to be about there.
About a push on it.
We're going to be a push from where we were last year, even with those additional costs that I just talked about. And
Okay. Other than that, on the invoice aging, I don't. There's
Which
no,
is the agingest year? That,
the bottom of the page.
it's 90 days
Uh-huh.
out.
And all of
plus.
those are in collections. All of those greater than 90 days are in collections. And I actually received from the Columbia River Gorge Hotel and both those Coco Locos have paid.
will we ever collect from Orwa Promotions?
No.
That's
I thought
that's
we washed
dead.
that off the books.
No, we washed. That was the Hispanic before Orwa, and then Orwa got sent to collections. And yeah, I would say this year we could probably go ahead.
What about the Tri-City Hispanic Chamber of
That's the
Commerce?
same thing. That was that last fall. We catered their dinner, and they had their event at the stadium, and they.
Haven't paid it, and it's the same guy leading the
it's
charge
in
there.
collections.
Same guy leading the charge. That's in charge of the newspaper here.
yes,
I just mark him off the book.
we have.
period.
We have. I mean, you'll probably hear about it at some point, but
Well, he'll never.
we're not going to.
It's got to be cash up front, period, with him.
Yeah, and the problem, I would have done that for this Hispanic chamber, but his name was never on the contract. He was always part, but he always had somebody else on the contract. And so he really didn't show up as the person owing us money. It showed up as somebody else.
Well, that
So-
guy is.
Yeah, so for last fall, I mean, I really couldn't tell him, no, you have to pay up front because it was different.
How did we get the Columbia River Gorge Hotel?
They
That
were
was that
here at the-
competition.
uh-huh.
Or
The food competition, the
See,
Savor
that was
Flavor
it.
in November.
They got equipment, electricity, and
And
normally it's supposed to be paid for up front, but
The guy didn't have the money with him, and anyway,
That
it's
was
in.
it.
It's done.
So
the
they,
other thing, the high school wrestling, I talked to the coach yesterday, and he wanted to get the final dollar amount because he was going to get it paid off. So
That'll get paid off.
which one
That's
is that?
between
the
the high school wrestling.
6418, it's the run right above the over 90 days.
Rich has been dealing with Lee Burns and has been trying to get in touch with him. Rich's schedule has been such and Lee's schedule have been such where they haven't been able to sit down face to face and get it hammered out. They're really, if there's any issues with it, it's very minimal. There was an interpretation of a load-in day as far as bringing those mats in. He needed heat in there. We had to run the heat overnight. That costs us pretty big money in the arena, and that's the issue that we're dealing with right now. And again, Rich, he's just about, they're trying to get together and hammer it out. I don't think there's no issues with getting paid. It's just who's getting how much
And
of
when
that.
I talked to Bob yesterday, he wanted the dollar amount, he was going to pay it off, have it paid, so sounds good.
Bodmer.
Okay, next page are revenues. Like I said, 489,000. That's 13, almost 14% of our budget.
And we should be
It's
at
16,670.
25.
16,670.
Oh, this is
If
February.
it was an even budget, yeah.
This is just through February. Yeah.
Right.
Where would we be at March on this thing?
25.
Calculator. Divide 398 into 1,357,000.
1,357,000.
Uh-huh.
But now, this is not projected, I'm asking really,
This is
where we
what-
really are.
In March.
Yeah.
$29.
29% then in March.
We're,
In March, it'll be at 29%. Where you should
well,
be
March is
25.
over. And,
We're just
Okay,
now,
this is February's
this
report.
is the February report.
oh, I understand all that, but what I'm just asking, just kind of compare, because we're 6% ahead then. In essence, 29%, we're 4% ahead. Yeah, that's fine.
That's where we ended up in, from a revenue side.
Yeah.
In March, so.
Okay. Our expenses, 229,000, which is 14% of our budget. That was the end of February. If you want to know the end of March, ready for it again?
Yeah, please.
394,000 out of 1,605,000.
$24.5.
24%.
What's the total expenditure at the end of March?
It's 394, 414, 415.
No, it can't be.
The end of March?
Yeah,
Yeah, the year to date?
because
That's a cumulative.
Yeah. Just for March? I don't have just March.
okay, the cumulative is 394.
Uh-huh.
Okay, and the cumulative revenues through the end of March is
398.
so we're just about a push on that then. Yeah, that's what I
Where we
was.
were last year.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's
Now,
it.
With that, all right.
Ken,
Next thing on the agenda is the tower cam contracts. We have that from KMDU. Here's a
resolution.
resolution for that. And the
186 now? Okay. And Darren did all of that?
Yep, here's the,
Okay.
I move for approval of Resolution 2004-186 and would authorize that we leave this open for Commissioner Miller's signature.
Miller
Yes.
and Mrs. Miller's signature?
In addition.
Oh, I thought you meant the contract.
No, on the resolution.
Okay.
I wasn't going to step on anybody's toes, but I know that's your responsibility.
All in favor?
Aye.
Second the motion, all in favor?
Aye.
Oh, Lordy.
they,
Back next week just to watch.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, why I say this, we approved this, and Sue was here when we did.
Yeah.
And
I thought you were reading off the resolution and with the chairman's.
please forgive me if I didn't make that clear.
You didn't.
okay. Next thing on the agenda was the AmeriSuites contract. I've got those signed, and here is a resolution. And essentially was exactly what I passed out to you prior, but I'd like to get authorization
It's just
to
a
go
Sherman.
ahead. What this is about is for me to be able to sign the contracts with the AmeriSuites so we can go rent the facility out to the client. Essentially, we'll be renting it out from AmeriSuites at 12 cents a square foot or less, which is equal to or better than anybody else will ever get from AmeriSuites. And we will in turn rent it out for 24 cents a square foot or less, depending on negotiations, but never below what we're paying on rent.
What's the number on that? 186? 2000.
Darren has approved, as you see on the AmeriSuites contract, and I also have a verbal from Jeff Nave that he has looked at that, and he sees no problem.
Sees no conflict on
Sees
it.
no problems with that either.
That's, yeah. I move the approval of resolution 2004-187 as specified.
I'll second the motion. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And then finally, the last thing, Fred, it's more for you. We've got shavings. We've got that horse show coming up. We need 400 bales of shavings. That we purchased them at $3.75, and we sell them for $6. So we need to.
That regards to that spending freeze.
Yeah.
I don't see how we cannot.
Well, there's a list of stuff that.
Another situation too is kitchen supplies, and that Mel wasn't in yesterday, so beg your pardon on my little note here. He's got $75 for a deep fryer. Custodial supplies $350.
Actually, what I've been telling everybody that's been calling, we're running short. Obviously, we can't stop doing business because there are expenses that come up that has to be made. And what I've been telling them is the need to have, you need to get it. The want to have, we can't
We're
do
not.
the want to have.
Understand.
Where do I sign?
This is
You don't sign
You
that.
don't. It's just to let you know that Darren has looked at this agreement and has approved it.
Okay.
So that's
Okay.
let you know. Okay, we understand.
On the shavings, I mean, we get our money back.
Yeah.
We get our money back. That's
Right.
just,
That's a
scheduled.
need to have. So.
yeah, you have to have that.
Yeah. So
Well, my whole point and about the parking lot across from the AmeriSuites, I just hate if we have that a lot of horses and manure and whatnot across from that hotel. It's gonna not be good for
If
the
I'd say-
patrons if they're not.
I'd say we better put a picture of manure in the lobby so they know what it looks like when they look across, so they won't be confused, because we're going to have it. I mean, there's no question about it. We're going to have manure across there, and the only way we can mitigate this a little bit is blacktop that, so it'll be easier to keep clean.
just sweep it.
Yeah.
So we can sweep it. Otherwise, it's the pitchfork and a broom and a.
But I think if we've got empty spaces, we should require them to park if they're.
We can't do that, neighbor. We can't force people to pay money to park there. We just can't.
Thought that was the idea.
But we're gonna fill the thing up, and you can think of as far as a contract. If you said, well, if you're going to have a show here, we got these spaces to rent.
When we do have an equestrian event, the reality is most of the people that are in AmeriSuites are with that event.
Yeah.
Not totally, but they fully understand, and it's not a.
Well, I just don't want to get crosswise with VJ and him.
VJ is aware. He knows what we're doing out there, and he has not ever mentioned any word to me at all in any conversation that will be an issue.
Agricultural center is part of the name of that thing, and you're going to have animals, period.
So I will keep in good communication with Mr. Patel, but if it's an issue, I'll ask it. I'm not going to
But I
really
think
push the issue with him. But if he says something, I'm certainly going to be open to it, and I'll pass that information on to you.
we're not going to have trouble perhaps with these smaller shows, but you come up and you have those big ropings in there.
Those ropings and barrel races.
But the one thing is, I don't want us to subsidize those shows. If they don't pay their way, then
Yeah.
I'm not.
I don't think we're having to subsidize them.
No, we saw that last year when Becky put together those P&L on all of those. The lowest profit margin we had was $750, and that was for that roping. And that was really based on the fact that the contract was a multi-year contract, and it was based on the old boneyard in the back and the way we used to be.
But one thing we need to remember, we have fixed costs out there, period. And those fixed costs go on whether we have a show or not.
Well, we'll be maintaining the contracts to make sure that we're not losing money on an event as we adjust our rates and we look forward to the future.
But I go back to my point, there are events that you can lose money on, and you're still money ahead by having them, because they're going to go against your fixed costs if you don't have to hire a lot of extra personnel to put that on.
Yeah, that's the key.
Because
we are now.
Yeah.
We are hiring people now to maintain those parking lots and to park people and all of that. And that's the number one priority we have right now. And you heard the very positive response from these people today, that our efforts are recognized and appreciated.
They look good out there. I could see it myself when I went through. It was very obvious that those parking lots were clean and much nicer. But the thing I liked as much as anything is the fact that they were parked in orderly fashion. Mm-hmm. You know, I've seen guys in the past go in there and just park helter-skelter.
They don't care. They'll park
they
wherever
don't.
they want.
That's right, and that's really an irritant.
Well,
But
I
they
think
were
we got that pretty well under control the last few times.
The last 2 or 3 times we've had shows out there, and that gravel parking lot has showed up so well because they parked out there like they should.
And we'll continue to do that. We just need to adjust our contracts in the future to make sure that all those costs are reflected.
Our costs
in there.
have to be picked up to do that.
Okay. Well, thank you very much.
Okay, do we have Public Works?
You said this was like setting to a Barnum and Bailey show? Is that?
It was entertaining. I like this picture of the idea of the picture of Calpine.
Oh, if they don't know what it looks like, we better show them because they're going to sure see it.
Yeah, I was out there 2 weeks ago. They had a roping event, and one of my nieces was there for it. So I was there for 2 days. And talked to a lot of the ropers. They said that dirt they had down there was second to none for them. And, you know, they got a lot of money in those horses.
Oh, God.
And they were really happy with the surface. And the staff, I didn't see anybody without a smile on their face, and everybody's working. It's hard to tell the staff from the volunteers.
Yeah, it is. This is good, and we like to hear it. What happens, and it's so often, because we put those monster truck shows and other things in there, which bring us in a lot of revenue. But we have to work that arena up when we do
Yeah,
that.
that tears that dirt up pretty good.
And then it works that rock up, you know,
Yeah.
and then you got to control it.
They were real happy with the surface, those ropers. And I didn't see any problems with it. You know, the cattle weren't stumbling around or anything else. And they were working it constantly. They'd
Yeah.
take a break, and they'd have that tractor in there working it, and somebody's walking around picking up plots. They're doing a good job, real good job. I was impressed.
Okay, what do we have?
This is payment striping proposal. All we have is a signature block page of it.
Okay.
And the last copy, the white copy is yours. The others I get to take back.
Were you running that sprayer out by Jim Moore's place?
They've got a spray crew out there. They got the contractor out there. I don't think they're running it right now.
We had the complaint that they had a spray out there.
Oh, Jim Moore? Okay.
You know Jim Moore.
Yeah, I do.
Okay.
Like his daughter called me the other day, Lorraine.
Yeah, Candy Roach. This, Pat just informed me, is a correction
Yeah.
because of the date. So we're just re-signing, so we're not making a motion or
There's
anything.
no motion or anything
Just-
with it.
Now, Sue,
The date on it was,
Okay, Sue will have to sign this then, too.
yeah.
It's just cleaning up the paperwork. Apparently, all the other documentation on that April 7th date was right, except that back page that was signed had a wrong date.
so they redid it.
It just
And
minor correction.
got a phone call this morning from Lisa Bates. She's one of the 2 people out at the park. She's the assistant park taker. Her husband passed away last night.
Oh,
And
What happened?
Her husband passed away. He's been a long illness, cancer.
Oh.
And, he'd been in Seattle. I think it happened last night.
sorry to hear that. Lillian passed away Monday, huh?
And Noel told me last night they're going to do something Saturday for
Lillian.
Stampy. She was a long-time Tri-City resident who lived.
He
Portland.
had a construction company.
And well drilling and a little bit of everything, I think. She was 91? Or she's going to be 91 on the 17th of this month. I think.
Yeah. Oh, I thought 92, but the paper said 90, so.
Yeah. Cranky lady. Oh.
She,
I wanna tell ya.
she wanted everything just
It's very regimented.
That 90 doesn't look as old as it used to.
You know, it's, I know exactly.
You don't know too much about it yet.
Oh, yeah. I'm getting up there
But,
now. I'm getting up there.
I wonder, do we need to make phone calls for our sandwiches and cookies?
That's what they were doing last night because they called me. Well,
Oh,
somebody's already doing it, evidently. I don't know who.
I didn't get a call. Just the women's president, but
Yeah,
that's
you-
all right. Well, I'll
I'm sure they'll
do
get a hold of you
sandwiches.
today
Yeah.
on that. That's all I had was that right there.
You know, this is off the record.
Oh, just a minute.
We can't have
What is
anything like
visiting?
that that's not
I gotta
part of
find
it.
it first.
I got cooked pretty good yesterday.
What's that?
Oh, me. We went over finances.
You didn't fire him, did you? He's
No.
okay then.
It's pending. It's pending.
Every day is pending.
Well, Neva, you mentioned
See ya.
that these
That'll come.
funds don't have any money in them.
Well, you want to talk about it?
I don't know, Neva.
Well, these funds are committed. Those funds are committed to these various.
Frank, we've been taking money out of the capital,
Pat,
25% in the car rental that was dedicated for the original bonds.
We can't do that.
And we're taking money out of them for other things. And
Who's
and
been allowing that to happen? Have we been allowing?
Yes, you have.
Yes.
The board. It was during budget times. There is basically what we've done is that whatever was there, we shaved it down to where we can make the bond payment. But then we're turning around and we're helping to offset current expenses, subsidy to track, by using the excess funds for track. Which, from what we understand, that's allowable because those two
Oh,
accounts
yes,
were set up
absolutely.
for
There's nothing
track.
wrong with it, but we got to go back and replace that money.
well, I think we're going to be all right, but it's going to be close.
It's going to be close. With all the projections, they should be able to make this next bond payment and still have $4,000 in reserve.
Well, this was when we did this. Initially, we were talking about. We thought there was going to be money to cover it. Anything we took out, we left the money on those committed funds because it's illegal not to have it once it's committed.
Well, as long as the funds are there to make the bond payments, then you've satisfied that need, and it's there.
That's satisfied.
It's there.
Then we'll have another period of time to accumulate enough for the next
Yeah,
one.
the way it's set up is you got a 6-month collection to make your bond payment. So if you don't touch the next 6 months, you should be fine. This is something that Marie, and Marie is very conscientious, a hard worker, and I certainly don't have anything bad to say about her. She's kind of a nervous person, and I go through this with her every 6 months. She comes to me, we're out of money, we're not going to have enough. I sit down with her, we go over the numbers and everything, and yeah, we're going to be fine.
Well, now, what's this price freeze that was instituted?
Jenny came in last Wednesday, and she says we're out of money, and I knew
last Wednesday or Thursday?
Last Wednesday, yeah, just before I left for Chelan.
Okay.
And I had been down with Marie the day before, where we had postponed the $100,000 payback to the BIPEN because
Yes.
that would put us $98,000 in the hole. We had $2,000. That's all that was left in there. And so I knew this was coming, and Jenny came in and she says, you're going to have to put a spending freeze on because we're just out of money. Taxes are starting to come in.
And taxes are coming
Yeah,
this month.
taxes are coming in. So I went to Neva and I said, Neva, could you put together, or we'll put together a letter. Would you sign it on the spending freeze? I thought you were involved in it because it was just right at the end.
I never even got a copy of it.
Okay. Well, anyway, the spending freeze went out, and it's probably more of a slowdown of spending than it really was a spending freeze. But I went to Chelan and came back, and the spending freeze letter had gone out. They have really only collected, about 4% of their taxes, and they estimate 51% coming in.
Well, sometimes they'll get as high as 60 though early.
They will, but
Yeah.
right now it's
The taxes are coming in very
Yeah.
slow.
They are. They brought in an extra
And
$145,000.
all of the lending banks and stuff, they pay on the last day, so those won't be posted until May.
But the interest that people are drawing now is nothing. You might as well pay your taxes. You're not going to make any money on interest anyhow.
Well, we just have a cash flow problem right now.
I think the problem is with income tax, and then your taxes aren't due until the end of the month. They wait till the next payday.
Income taxes tomorrow. And
You know, something that I think is a very serious thing is the jail. The jail and the sheriff's revenues. They've projected
We were
these to come
discussing that.
in, and they are. Let me grab the sheet on it. I've got it.
Well, about 4%, Neva said, that's where we
Yeah,
are.
they're not good.
Well, Fred's going to talk to them individually, and then I think they ought to come in and talk to the full board.
Well, I
Give us
do
an
too, but I
explanation.
don't think when you make your damn budget that you ought to be off that much. No.
No,
Because we make our budget based on those calculations.
absolutely.
Yeah.
And
Let me walk around. See, we're supposed to be roughly here at 25% of this particular budget that
Yeah.
we're looking at. And the ones that I've circled, this is where we should be. We should be at $50,000 collection when we're actually at about 38. Now that's not
What?
that's not going to kill us.
Now, this is on, which budget?
This is the auditor's budget right here that we're looking at, or the auditors. Because I was looking down at, we should be at 25%.
We're at 1844.
So I was looking to see who has been slowed down in their collections, and when I hit that number, I did a 25% calculation. We should be at 50. She's at 38, so they're down about what, $12,000.
Yeah.
But if you go over here, district court, we should, and see that's not too awful bad. We should be at about 90. They're at 68, so we're $28,000 roughly
That's
under.
not bad. Yeah.
This particular one here at 20, but if you go over here to where we're looking at the sheriff's budget, they're at 12.31. We should be at 67, so they collected less than half of what they should have. This child support here, they've only 1.2.
Well, they just got to get on the ball on that.
Well,
yeah, but you
are they
see,
billing?
the thing of it is, Frank, they need to be billing.
Oh, I agree.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's money that
But
we
they've
will
dropped
get.
the ball.
Well, we will, but
Yeah,
the problem
no,
is
but-
we're out of money.
Yeah.
And so I'm going to go talk to them and say, if you haven't billed, bill.
Oh, yeah, but what the point I'm
We
making is
used to
these.
have this trouble all the time with Guy Felice, but since Steve's been in, they've been on top of it.
But on these others, we may never get it. This one we will get.
Yeah, we will. Okay, look at the jail. They're at less than 6% collected.
This is serious.
This is. I mean, even this. If we had this and this, we wouldn't be having the problem right now.
That's
You know?
serious.
So we've got a problem. And see right here, they should be at about 51%, and they will be soon. But they're at 6%. We're still they're at about $2.15 million short of getting their collection. So
Yeah.
with these things right here,
The treasurer situation will straighten itself out, hopefully. But on the jail, that is a real concern to me.
well, I'm gonna go see them today, this afternoon, if I don't get locked up in prison from what Aaron's telling me.
What's the
Oh,
matter?
that federal thing on the housing authority. I'm not going to get locked
Oh.
up, I don't think. But I'm going to be drug into it, I can tell you.
Well, we all have to speak with that attorney on that.
Well, you guys pretty much turned that over to me, and I've been working directly with Bobby and Gary on this thing. I know how this came about.
But I have got my contribution.
Okay, Charter Communications. I'm here to basically get a resolution and some contracts signed to basically obtain services with Charter Communication. Now, this is to kind of give you a little bit of background on it. They gave us two options, that they could come in for a 3-year period, and I believe the numbers, it was $8.74 per month.
47 it says here.
I'm sorry, you're right. It's 847. Thinking ahead of my reading. But they came in with a 5-year contract that was about 803. My memory says it was about 803.
Okay, now is that per space?
Per space.
Whether we use it or not?
That's right. That's
Ooh.
right. If you do the math on that, you got 847 times 46 times 12. So that's $4,675 per year to have cable out.
But see, that's per month is what they're charging.
Yes.
That's a per month charge. So you might have, if you have that thing occupied, even 25% of the time, that would make that, down to about $8, and it'd be about $1 a night, and there's what you're talking about.
Well, that's all built into the pricing.
Yeah.
It's going to cost the county about $5,000 to have cable out at the RV park.
Yeah.
Give me, where is our little calculator? Okay, you used 847?
Yeah, 847 times 46.
And you're looking at, but to break it down, you can break it down to how much it's going to cost a day.
Mm-hmm.
And the day cost, you're looking a little over $1 a day.
Well, if
on
you
that.
got 28 cents a day.
Excuse me. I'd be figuring per unit, yeah.
Yeah, 28 cents a day.
Per unit, yeah.
To have cable out there. It's a convenience, for the users, but we want to bring the users in, and that's the fact. Now, we could have gotten it cheaper at like $8.03, but it was a 5-year contract. And the reason why I didn't really want to do the 5-year contract is because there are systems out there where we could possibly purchase our own satellite company, our own satellite dishes out there.
When you're looking at 28 cents, so.
Yeah.
I mean,
Well,
not
I just
per
didn't
year.
want to lock into a 5-year because of the way technology is moving today.
Neva, I'll let you use mine.
Oh, I got it. Well, the only thought is, it seems like stuff is going up all the time. So if we lock the 802 in, then
Well, there's also a 4% increase cap. Yeah, it's $8.47 today, but next year it may go up 4% on top of that. And again, my thought was technology.
That's not per day,
I'm sorry.
per month.
I need to slow down here. You're right. It's $8.47
Cents per month. Divided by 30 and whatever that comes
It's
out.
28 cents a day.
28 cents a day.
And they can increase it by 4% a year. And again, the reason why I went with the 3 instead of the 5 is because of the technology and the
Yes, okay.
possibility
All
of
right.
us buying
But
our own
if
system.
we,
that's fine.
yeah, we're talking pennies. Even if they increase it, it's only going to go up pennies.
So that's what this is. This is a resolution here allowing this to happen. And these here are the contracts.
I move for approval of Resolution 2004-188 as specified.
I'll second.
Aye.
Aye. All in favor, aye.
Aye,
Now, do we all sign this?
I don't think so. I think you just need to.
I don't get to sign. She gets to sign something. I don't get to sign, Fred.
Well, we could change the signature blocks if you'd like.
These have to be notarized.
Yeah, we called down to the PA's office. Rebecca's not in today, and talked to Debbie. I'm assuming she did that because she didn't come back in, but we're going to take them down and have Debbie notarize them.
Okay, what's next?
Mr. Davidson's law office. We had talked about doing a purchase of that, and I had talked to Mr. Davidson, and we went through the whole process of hiring an appraiser to come in and do the appraisal. I sent him a letter saying this is who we wanted to use. He said, yes, let's go ahead and use this person. Ken came in yesterday, and we talked briefly. He was on his way down to do the actual walkthrough of the office and the measurements and everything. I received a phone call back that Michael Davidson has already sold that property to somebody else. Well, I'm a little bit disappointed in the fact that we did have the correspondence with him over that, and we did hire Ken to do the appraisal, and the county's going to get stuck with a bill.
You didn't do the appraisal.
Well, he was, I don't know what's going to happen.
If he didn't do the appraisal, we're not going to be stuck.
Well, it wasn't completed. Now, I don't know how much work he put into it prior to
Well, I
going
think
down there. to
whatever
do
it is, we send the bill to him.
Well,
to
I would-
Davidson.
I guess I'm a little disappointed that because he had talked to me like 2 or 3 weeks ago asking where
I'm
we were with that
surprised.
process.
I'm surprised that he did.
He knew the county was interested in, I think out of courtesy, he should have let us know that he was moving ahead with somebody else. But he didn't. He didn't. So the bill is gone. And so it's just the situation that we're in. So it's gone. Okay.
Yeah, back to back. It would have been nice to have that stuff.
It would've. The next one I have written down here, I just have it penciled in. It's not on yours. Now that we are having Rob come in and do the courthouse inspection for us, I would like to not expand Libby's print shop for right now and let Rob have that office area in there to set the
The
plan.
old corner spot.
Yeah, the old corner spot. I think it would be a good place
That
for
would
us to
solve our
set the
problem.
plans out. And so I think I'll just, I'll just have him moved in there.
Yeah.
We're going to set up a computer and a phone and let him.
And
Now,
then
he-
we won't have to mess with that shack.
we won't have to mess with the lab shack and we can get him in there fairly
That's
quickly.
good. That's the best way
Very
to
good.
go.
Didn't even think about that.
You know what? Mr. Scott came up with that idea, so I will give him the credit
God,
for it.
you'll
I'm
have
not
to.
gonna come up
Don't.
with that.
Don't.
Yeah, no.
Don't give him any credit.
Well, okay. I'll take all the credit.
Okay.
Okay, now where are we at?
That's pretty much all I have for right now.
Well, okay, we have some things.
Okay.
First of all, we've gotten some criticism about the courtrooms upstairs and not getting cleaned.
Mike Killian called on that.
And, you know, I thought they were talking about the bad word being carved in on the banister where the jury box is. That's been there for a long time, and we just had it covered up with paper, and they said, no, it's in the new courtroom. I don't know what these bailiffs and security people are doing, but they need to be on top of that, and as far as I'm concerned, they aren't doing their job. So they need, Joe Monday needs to be called or brought to task. We're paying him good money, and there shouldn't be vandalism in the bathrooms or, I mean, those guys need to be roaming those rooms all the time. And I think our bailiffs need to be alert. But I hate it to think that our new courtroom is getting destroyed.
Mike said there's lack of coordination, utilization of the elevators and other things over there. And apparently, the cleanup staff is not going up there in the courtroom,
Okay.
our janitorial staff. We don't have a lead man now, that John's taking some time off.
Well, can we go into executive session over personnel?
Yeah. Or 10 minutes?
Yeah.
What he's coming for? Is he?
No.
I need to call him.
Did you call him?
No, I haven't called him back yet.
I haven't called him either.
He wants to go and do that tour of that place that we have, and I didn't even know that the county owned it.
Oh, the detox?
Yeah, he wants to do a walkthrough with me. So
Oh.
I need to call him back. So are you done with me?
No.
Are you also going to talk to Mr. Long and Mr.
Oh, yeah. I'm going to talk to him.
We ought to, it would be a good idea to have Rick come in again and kind of let us know on that thing, Chris. As far as the revenue, because I'm real
come in here
concerned
and
about
giggle.
that.
Well, me too.
All we do is come in and giggle.
I'll go. Actually, I want to go talk to Rick, and then I'm going to go talk to Lori. Because she's the one that does the billing. The city's not paying, and that's the city's problem.
Well, yeah.
So I'll find out.
Okay, let's,
Fred,
thank you.
Marie would like to mention your time too.
Can I grab my stuff?
I move for approval of the consent agenda.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Here you go, Bridget.
thank you, sir.
My thing broke.
Do you want to stamp them, or would you like me to?
Oh, I'd like
Okay.
it.
taking away Neva's area of responsibility. I want you to know you're walking on dangerous
That's
ground,
just
Bridget.
When it's resolutions other than office business.
Pat, do we have an absence stamp over there? You want to look for it later?
No, I'll stamp them. I'll find the stamp and I'll stamp them.
Okay.
Thursday,
Well,
I
we're still
have.
looking. We're still finding things. So.
Okay, because I have more.
Pat went to the hospital and saw Mary. I guess she's doing pretty good.
Well, how long is Mary going to be in the hospital?
She should be getting out today.
Good.
I went last night. She said she had a terrible night the first night. It was 80 degrees in the room. She was throwing up. But she was feeling a lot better by the time I got there.
From 10 o'clock at night till 6 o'clock in the morning is the worst time in the hospital in the world. Boy. Who went to see her, Neva?
I'm here. Pat.
Oh, Pat did.
It's down there.
Oh, I heard Pat say she hadn't and knew it.
I already reset it, Neva. Now it says 192, and I need it to stay 192.
Pat, we owe you money here. I'd forgotten about that.
You know, in my I don't have my checkbook.
That's right. I know where you live. I know where you live.
Better get it before tomorrow because after I pay my income tax out.
Oh, remember.
Thank you very much.
Now, is this our one for down here?
Yep.
Okay.
I told her I wasn't going to have
Pat,
to.
that was $9 and
$9 is good.
here.
I'll give you a buck.
We'll call it even on that then.
I don't even have any money. That's crazy. But at least I don't have to get more money for my income tax. I got it in savings this year. Oh, I hate that. Today would have been Phil's 72nd birthday today.
72.
He was on my mind.
I have not seen him.
That's,
That's
right.
11. I'm thinking 12.
Yesterday was Jim Potts'
Working
wife's
on-
birthday,
working on-
and Jim was down here, you know. And Jim Potts' wife is 71, and Jim is 68. Said she's a little older.
Wow, I'm making it easier, actually. Pat's making it easy on you today. I don't even have any questions for you.
No
Just
questions?
an agenda, and I'm done.
We can handle the questions. It's the answers, Bridget, that we always have difficulty with here. You can be sure you're going to get about 3 versions of the answers.
Yes.
okay, I have emergency management tomorrow at
3:30, and
tomorrow night, then Franklin Transit, and then Council of Governments.
Friday.
And I am not going to eat because my classmates are going to eat at, what is it, Emmett's?
Oh,
Emmett's.
The new one on 68. I've heard it's good. Are you going there for lunch or dinner?
I was there for breakfast the other morning. I really didn't give it a fair trial, but the guys were happy that we went there Saturday. My wife and I went there Friday night, and it was busy. There was about a 20 or 30-minute wait, so we didn't stay. We went someplace else.
I think Jared McPherson said that he knows the owner or something, and that the owner is very happy with breakfast and dinner, but they're still working out the lunch.
I would be willing to bet that Fran Thomas is not, her whole time she's open, hasn't had as many customers as he's had in the 10 days he's been open.
I went there once when they were the German, whatever that restaurant
Yeah.
was under Fran, and it was okay, but
Was there anyone else there?
I don't remember anybody else being there. Maybe one or two other tables.
Yeah, this is what you, I never saw any cars out there.
Yeah. No. So I hope they make it. I hope they do well.
Oh boy, when oh gosh, what's their names? That used to own it.
Oh, at the Heidi House?
Uh-huh.
They were living block 1, yeah.
They lived down on
They were awful
South
busy.
Landing.
Yeah, they were awful.
And that was good. They had an accordion player, and she'd sing, and their food was excellent too, German food.
But they also were good with the people,
Oh yeah.
and Fran was not. They were good with people.
Well, I hope he does come. Where did you get that?
Oh, David brought it back from Nevada one trip. I'll always have money as long as I have that. I'll never run out of money. Nevada gold.
Are we recessed then?
Shirkies.
Yes.
Shirkies had that neighbor.
Yes.
Yeah.
I should. Yeah. And we'll reconvene.
Oh, my, I bet they were happy. Will you stay at the same weight, Colin?
I'll wrestle probably 149 or
147.
147? Yeah. Because I'm going to probably redshirt next year, and so it depends how much I grow.
Now, you wrestle 140 now.
I wrestle 145 now. This is 140. I wrestled 140 during that tournament, but normally I was about 140.
You dropped down to the tournament.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's horrible to have to lose 5
With
pounds.
no fat on him, you lose 5. Well, that's really nice. So you'll probably wrestle 156,
157.
157. Boy, those are tough weights. Those light weights. There's so many people in that category.
Okay, you want to do the honor or the motion?
Yes, I move the approval of resolution number 2004-192, which is a resolution congratulating Tyler Sherfy on his victory in the 2004 National High School Coaches Association Senior Wrestling Championship. I think that's wonderful.
And I'll second the motion. All in favor?
I want to make a point in commenting that he beat this young man who had won 237 straight matches and never lost a match. I think that's really something. And authorized Sue Miller to sign on this. I got to be careful with my fellow commissioner here. But that wasn't a contract this morning, Neva. That was a resolution.
I was giving him a bad because he was going to have Sue Miller sign. He just meant I misunderstood. Thought I was.
And having signed the resolution and not the contract.
And we're going to give you the original of the newspaper clipping. Very nice. Thank you. And then,
Well, we're certainly proud of it. My word, I think that's wonderful.
Thanks.
I truly do. I followed wrestling for many, many years since the Keller Boys started in Kennewick, and they were kind of the original big-time wrestlers here because they did so well.
That was a few years back.
pardon me? I think about 30. Well, Frank and I go a long ways back. I remember the Keller Boys and
Oh, they were good.
you know John Howard out at CBC.
Some of the
when
best
he had
matches.
wrestling.
Some of the best matches. One of the best matches I ever saw out there is Gary Krantz wrestled a kid from Idaho State that came in, and I was rooting for Gary Krantz, and he was wrestling for Idaho State, and it ended up in a draw, but it was a tremendous match. Do you know Mike Davidson?
Yeah.
Mike used to wrestle.
Yeah.
Mike used to work for me.
He's one of our club coaches.
Okay, Mike used to work for me, and he was going to make that change sprinkler pipe. He'd go out with an apple in his pocket and change sprinkler pipe all day. He wanted to make the 108 weight and make the Iowa trip, and he made that and went on the Iowa trip. But Mike wrestle down. He didn't give himself time to grow. He needed to add weight,
Yeah.
and he kept trying to go down, and that makes
Still
it.
isn't up very much.
Mike's pretty good size now, though.
Yeah, he's. I think I'm going to coach his sons this summer, actually.
Oh,
Yeah.
He does what now?
I'm going to be coaching his sons this summer.
Yes.
His boy likes to wrestle too.
Donald
of
and
course.
Henry.
Yeah, Donald. Well, is Henry, his youngest boy, big enough to wrestle yet?
Mhm. They both have been wrestling for several years. Really? How old are they?
Donald's old enough, but the
Yeah,
other.
Henry's like, I think 7 or 6 or 7 or 8, maybe.
Well, Tyler, when did you start? You were that age when you started, weren't you?
I started in the 2nd grade. So,
That's good.
yeah, 7.
But anyhow, you can tell Mike you talked to one of his former employees.
Okay.
He charged me a little more than I used to pay him though when he worked.
Yeah, now.
Yeah, he reminds me of that money I paid him.
Take a picture of us presenting this certificate to Tyler. Well, I'm all thumbs. But anyway, this is a certificate of achievement awarded to Tyler Sherfy for his accomplishments of winning the 2004 National High School Coaches Association Senior Wrestling Champion in Cleveland, Ohio, April 4th, 2004, and signed by the Board of Franklin County Commissioners.
Congratulations, Tyler.
We congratulate you.
Congratulations again. I think that's
And
really
this
nice.
is the original, and I brought that little newspaper clipping. That's great. So that was a nice touch that the girls thought of. Mm-hmm. Thank
Yes.
you so much.
And I do apologize again. I had a meeting right here, and I just never thought. I got down and I said, something I haven't done. And I called, and I'd already ordered. I'd come right back home.
Yeah.
Well, we'll keep you informed of how he does in college.
Well, we're anxious to follow his career. I know he's going to do well because he's talking about redshirting and going up, and I think that's good because he's going to grow.
Yeah.
And then you won't have to do so much running with those hot suits.
Well, he'll have to do that to keep in shape. You don't win those national titles without doing that, you know.
Right. Well, we're very proud of you and proud of your mom.
Well, I should hope to say we're proud of you. I think that's awful nice.
You know, even though you're from across the river, we're still proud of you.
We don't care where you're from.
right.
You did a good job. That's great.
That's right. So, and thanks for coming in.
Yeah, no problem.
Hope you don't.
And thanks for coming back.
I'll call
That's all right.
the school. Okay, thanks.
Bye-bye now.
Bye. Good luck.
Thank you.
Are we adjourned, Madam Chair?
Yes, you are adjourned.
I'm not going to leave. Oh, God.